To troubleshoot AWS Amplify Authentication, start by checking the authentication configuration in your Amplify project. Ensure that the authentication module is properly installed and configured. Verify that you have the correct AWS credentials set up in your project. Next, review the authentication flow to identify where the issue is occurring. Check if the user is being redirected to the login page and if the login form is being submitted correctly. Verify that the authentication token is being generated and stored properly. Check the AWS Amplify authentication logs to identify any error messages or issues. The logs can provide valuable information about the authentication process and help you diagnose the problem. Look for errors related to authentication tokens, user pools, or identity pools. Verify that the user pool and identity pool are properly configured in the AWS Management Console. Ensure that the user pool is set up with the correct authentication providers and that the identity pool is configured to use the correct user pool. Check the authentication token expiration and refresh token settings. Ensure that the token expiration time is set correctly and that the refresh token is being used to obtain a new token when the existing token expires. Test the authentication flow using the AWS Amplify Authentication SDK. Use the SDK to authenticate a user and verify that the authentication token is being generated and stored correctly. Test the authentication flow with different authentication providers such as username and password, Facebook, or Google. Finally, verify that the authentication token is being validated correctly on the server side. Ensure that the server is configured to validate the authentication token and that the token is being passed correctly in the request headers. By following these steps, you can troubleshoot AWS Amplify authentication issues and resolve problems with the authentication flow. Remember to check the authentication configuration. Review the authentication flow. Check the logs. Verify the user pool and identity pool configuration. Check the authentication token settings. Test the authentication flow. And verify server-side validation.